those ancient tools trying to get people to get to a destination. Back in the day when you had to whip it out, point to a spot, figure out all of the random directions and routes that you needed to follow in order to get there. But they did their job. People started from point A and they got to point B. And now we're dealing with game dev roadmaps, trying to achieve the impossible goal of becoming a full-time game developer. So what does that mean exactly? I've taken the plunge in exploring the YouTube homepage and finding just the vast array of game dev roadmaps. And I mean vast array. There are hundreds of really well-constructed videos outlining roadmaps for becoming a full-time game developer. I admire any creator who has the gall to handle a project of that scale. I definitely have watched a lot of these and gained that inspiration of, okay, yeah, they did it, I can do it too. That path seems like a good one to follow. In hindsight, looking back at it, I realized kind of a problem with a lot of roadmap videos. Let's use Disneyland as an example. Let's say everyone's trying to drive to Disneyland. The location's the same, everyone wants to get to that one point. Problem is, everyone's starting from somewhere completely different. The route someone will take to get to Disneyland from, let's say, Seattle, Washington, is going to look very different from the route someone's going to take when driving from New York City. Game development is going to be the exact same. Despite the destination lining up for a lot of people, everyone starts from a very different point. Maybe someone is experienced in graphic design or musically gifted or both, or you have a software development degree and you've built all of these amazing projects, and maybe you've built games before but want to pick it back up again. You can't pinpoint the exact starting location for every single person. Sure, two people might live in the same state when trying to get to Disneyland and it'll be pretty similar, but even then, the route will never exactly line up, which is why I found that looking at these roadmaps and plans to come up with, okay, how do I want to achieve this goal? You can't just follow someone else. But what you can do is look at what someone else has done, look at the route that they've taken, the pitfalls that they've run into, and learn from them. And with those lessons, apply it to your own path. In fact, that's a great way to avoid trouble and potential hazards along the way. Essentially, what I'm getting at is never take something as gospel. Instead, look at it for what it is, learn from it, make your own path. That's what I'm going to explain and talk about more in this video is what is my path? How do I want my journey to look? One of the most important parts is figuring out where I want to go. Obviously, you can put the blanket statement of, I want to do full-time game development. That's very broad. I want to narrow it down a little bit more. So if I'm able to live comfortably using the content I create and the games I make, that to me is what I'm looking for. That's my goal. That's my destination. Great. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to get there. Most of the videos that I've seen regarding game dev roadmaps do have a lot of sound advice that I really like, such as make a small crappy game and then release it to get it under your belt, and then keep releasing smaller games until you're confident enough to release your dream game or a bigger game. And I'm going to take that advice and apply it to the way that I learn. Here is what my roadmap looks like. I'm going to apply this roadmap kind of similar to how I taught myself web development. There's a common term called tutorial hell. It is real. When I was learning web development, I thought that the best way to learn it was to just get these massive courses on Udemy, go through, learn everything, and by the end of it, I would just have it all under my belt. I would understand, I could make something great. And I did that for a good chunk of time. And after my first tutorial series, I was enlightened. I learned a ton. But when I sat down to try to make my own website, nothing came up. I forgot everything. I couldn't remember what I was supposed to do. Nothing was coming back to me from everything that I learned. So I watched another tutorial series on how to do it again, and I got through all 40 hours or so of that, and then the same thing. I didn't retain anything, and it was so frustrating to recognize the terms and recognize what I wanted to do, but not being able to do it in my own creative way. I had to follow a tutorial in order to do anything. And the only way that I broke out of that with web development was when I bit the bullet, I sat down for a project, outlined what I wanted to do, literally drew it out, and just did everything I could to build it out. When something didn't line up, I'd just watch a YouTube video on just that piece. Very specific. And piece by piece, I was finally able to put together a website that I was somewhat proud of. And I learned a lot more. When building other applications and websites, I was able to apply those lessons from me making mistakes and doing my own work way more than those tutorial series that I followed. For me, I learned that I just can't follow a tutorial series. It just doesn't work for my learning style. For some, it's enough, and that's fantastic, but it's not for me. What I found is just doing my own small projects, it clicks more for me. I'm able to retain more information. I'm able to have more fun with it because I build my own. I flex my creativity a little bit more, and I'm going to apply that same stuff and those same lessons to game development. The only way that I'm going to learn how to make games and do these crucial pieces, like work on the art and work on sound design and all of that, are to do small projects. So here is my goal. I'm starting to make a game called Solure already. The game's scale is still relatively small. It's not going to be a huge game. I'm going to keep building on that game all the way through until it's completed, which already I've learned a ton about game development, and I've just accepted the fact that it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of flaws with that game that I'm just going to have to deal with and accept and get feedback from the community on how to improve down the line, which is totally okay. But along the way, as I build on Solure, I'm going to have small challenges that I'm going to give myself, and of course that I'm going to share with all of you, where I will build out a mechanic in a day. Just a mechanic. It's not going to be a full game. It's just going to be exploring how to build a small aspect of something inside of Godot, just so that if down the road I need to build something out similar to that, I will have experienced how to do that on a smaller scale, and I can reference my own work rather than reference a tutorial. So throughout the progression of a larger game, I will have small mini projects and mini challenges that'll just flex my creativity a little bit more and get me exposure to some elements that I otherwise wouldn't use. And some may be wondering, well, why are you going to split your attention like this? The reason I'm willing to split my attention a little bit is because Solure right now is a top-down 2D game with very specific mechanics. For example, there isn't an inventory system in Solure, but what if down the road I wanted to make an inventory system? Well, as one of those mini projects, that could just be it. Just make an inventory system. That's it. Doesn't need to go into a game, doesn't need to do anything. I just need to build it out myself so I can get the experience. It's easy for me to reference back to work that I've already done versus work that someone else has done and I'm just trying to follow along with. And of course, since this is going to apply to more than just game dev, I can also do challenges with art and sound design, little mini tasks for creating sound effects, ambient music, whatever it is. Just challenges to flex my abilities and really work on getting me to that goal. So in summary, at the bottom of my timeline, there's always going to be some project that I want to work on and publish. But along the way, there will be time for breaks and little quick snippets of other work that I'll be able to practice and share with everybody. And in doing this, I hope that this method will really help me dive into Godot a little bit more and just test out what I can accomplish with it. I've got plenty of game mechanic ideas that I've listed down in a notebook that I'm ready to dive into and just build out specifically. Maybe along this roadmap, those little simple game mechanics that I build out can turn into larger projects and into publishable games. I can't exactly say how long it's going to take me to get to where I want to go, but I can say that this is the path that I want to take. Maybe in a year or so, I can do a retrospective on how well this tactic worked for me, and maybe everyone can learn from the mistakes I make along the way. I'm curious to see how this works out, and I'm excited to start diving into it. But there we have it. That's the roadmap that I want to follow for accomplishing my goals as a game developer. And I'd love to hear what you all think. Go ahead and bash my plan in the comments, or tell me what plans you've made for yourself if you want to be a game developer. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say. Make sure you subscribe for more updates on the projects that I'm working on, including Solure, which I will have a first official devlog up for next week. And if you would like to find out a little bit more about the game engine that I'm using and why I chose it, go ahead and check out this video here. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. See ya.